Family, family, family. How are you, Earth family? All right. Let's see what we are going to talk about today, or maybe just something just comes to us. I'll let you know that God said enough. There's a purpose. Your divine purpose. There's a path that you should be on, and one that you should be traveling on. You and I, together, will be traveling. Even though we're on our own different paths, we're still traveling on that divine path. You know, they'll pick you, pick me. They pick places. They pick places that they need us to be. That's what God does to me every single time. He'll pick me up, drop me off in one country, pick me up, drop me off in another country, pick me up, drop me off in another country. And here I am in the United States right now. Every time I come back, I wind up noticing that my throat chakra tends to close up when I'm in the United States because of that dark family that I told you earlier videos that I've been around. That family has been trying to covet my energy, covet my spirit. There are people in that family that try to be me, act like me. They try to disguise themselves as me, but they don't know that God just takes me and He just rewrites my story every single time. The God Most High, the Mother and the Father. That's what I call the God Most High. I've been traveling for, see, I went in the military in 1989, so I've been traveling for some time. Since 2021 is when I came back to the United States. And I've been here for a couple of years now, and I haven't left the country. But I've been traveling since 1989 to all these different places. I know that I've been chosen, just like you've been chosen. I know I've been chosen. But God has put me on a path, or put me on a chosen path, so that I will be on a path that I can sit there and describe to you and help you with your perception, because you wind up taking a different path than me. Some of you decided to stay in your countries. Some of you decided to walk down the path of education, economics, labor, law, religion, politics, war, sex, and all of that stuff. So I know I've walked down my path, and it encompasses what you guys walk down, but I was able to divert. God had just, like I said, He'll pick me up, or she'll pick me up. They pick me up and they drop me off in another place. I know when I was young, I was the only one in my family firstborn. My sister was born. Within that first year, I know that my mother was giving me some type of love, some type of compassion. Once my sister was born, I didn't receive that anymore. Now it was her protecting my sister, and me protecting them too from the father that we had. Later on, I've noticed that my mother's been around my father so much that she became that dark entity. And she taught that to my siblings while I was distracted defending them from my father, from my mother, from society. He lived with my mother for some time. I think it was my last year of high school that they wind up going through a divorce. When I went to university the next year, that's when they received their divorce. And that's when I knew I was free, but not totally free, because I was still coming back to protect them. I've always stood in my power, and I've always been able to use my throat chakra, but I noticed that when I left the country, all my chakras were in balance. Once I came back, whatever it is that my parents or my family was doing to me, threw off my heart chakra, threw off my throat chakra, threw off my crown chakra. Now, because they were doing all of that, and they didn't know that I was a divine being, they didn't know that God was there for me, He chose me, they didn't know, they bit off more than they can chew. Looks like I'm losing some camera. Okay, sorry about that. Saw myself in a dark picture. It looks like that they put themselves in a position that they couldn't defend. They wind up choosing other people in life instead of the chosen medicine man, the chosen shaman, which I am. I've been trying to protect them for the longest time. I do that outside in society. I've done that when I was in the military around the world. And like I said, I've always stood in my power. But there was one point that they stopped me from talking my truth. And I noticed when I broke away from that, the moment I broke away from speaking my truth, to be able to speak my truth again, that's when I saw that my silence was because of them. And I also knew that the moment I stepped into my divinity is when I started to awaken others, and knowing that I was there to empower others, to awaken others, to lead others in not so much to a promised land, but just to lead them back into their vibration, back into their truth. If I knew that if I'm speaking my truth, others around me will be in their truth. Hope, faith, and spirituality, that was something I always walked with. It was good karma, good fortune. That always fell on me, no matter where I went, no matter what I did. There were karmic people in my life that tried to cut off the happiness. There were hidden families, but those hidden enemies. But the hidden enemies turned out to be my family. I'm sure that happens with you guys. I'm sure that happened with a lot of chosen. But I chose to remain in God's energy. I chose to remain single, to stay away from people. I haven't been in a relationship since 2004. And I chose this only because I knew what was happening in my family. I knew that I had to walk in my destiny. And my destiny was not to be in a relationship with someone that was karmic. I had to find someone that was spiritually balanced with me. And I remember God, the Mother Most High, and the Father Most High saying to me, it's too late. It's too late for your family. It's too late for these people. It's too late for anyone. And that's when I broke free. That's when I knew I was liberated and balanced myself in the divine feminine and divine masculine of the Mother Most High and the Father Most High. I know that my family was always obsessed with me, only because my brothers always attempted to be me. Anything that I had brought back was coveted or sold or stolen. I know now that because they use my identity, that detectives and FBI investigators are following them. They try to hide in the shadow and hide in the dark, but they can't. They just can't. I remember my brothers, they both walked different paths. And there was one of them, the middle brother, he was walking on a path of spirituality, but then all of a sudden he slumbered. He fell asleep. And then at that moment, I remember my mother lost all her connections, and my sister lost all her connections. I remember the ancestors. I remember the ancestors talking to me and letting me know that they are not happy with her, and they are not happy with the family. And they told me, listen, you just follow your path, and you continue to follow your path. Don't worry about them. We'll take care of that. The way that they treat you is the way that they treat you, and there's a reason for why they treat you like that. I really didn't understand it. I just remember my grandfather coming up to me, giving me a hug, and I remember that his love touched my aura. I knew that my family uses my energy, and they try to tap into my energy to try to send me chaos. And No matter what type of chaos they try to send to me, they have no idea and they don't really understand that I'm a chosen one. God concealed me and mirrors back everything right back to him, you know. Any of that negative energy that they try to put on me, it comes right back to them, and they can't stand it. My brothers still at this day and age, they've been doing it for, let's see, 1989 is when I left. That is when they started to telling lies and gossip about me, and they still do it to this day. You know, they do it to hide their dark endeavors. I've noticed that for some time, and I've noticed that the heart that I carry kind of ignores it, throws it over my shoulder. I never turn a blind eye like my mother has done, but she's done that too long. She's been doing it since my father's been aggressive to the family. She's been doing it when my brothers were aggressive towards me. She started doing it in hiding their dark endeavors. And at one point, the Mother Most High and the Father Most High decided, okay, I'm taking that eye. And they took that eye that they turned away. Same thing with my father. He was one of those guys, had no heart, very aggressive. And I remember graduating boot camp, coming back, looking for him. And my brother told me that God took his heart. He has a pacemaker. It's like, wow. Oh. So I guess we're safe now. So that's when I decided I left. I started traveling. I knew that at that moment I tamed the beast. And I noticed that throughout those years, my family's true love was money. No matter what it was, the money they swindled from me, the money they swindled from another, it didn't matter. That was their passion, their love. I know that this September, I'm coming on to a special year, but there's going to be a major shift. Only because there are earth angels out there. I know I'm one, and I know you're one. You're chosen. I know that chosen. And we live in our soul. We live in our spirit. The Mother Most High and Father Most High want you to know that you and I are going to unite. I don't know why the video keeps going black in, black out, but I see the sun shining right behind me, right here. I don't know if that's Mother and Father wanting to speak to us, but I know that the moment I surrendered to the Most High Mother and the Most High Father, that's when their plans came into action. That's when I started to walk a chosen path for me. I know that at this moment there's a Capricorn, not only in my family, but in your family, in your friend zone, and in your coven. There is one that does not know the difference between love and hate. And you're going to have to watch out for that one. That I have one that's been like that since, I think that was 1991, 1992. I believe that was the time. I know that when I had a dream last night, these numbers came to me. That was 1959, 1971, 1983, 1995, 2007, 2019, and 2031. But 2031 hasn't been here yet. But I know 1959 was 10 years before I was born. 1971 was a couple of years after I was born. But that's when, the second youngest of my family was born. 1983 is when I wound up graduating from junior high. 1995 is when there was a child born in my family. 2007 is when I came back here. And 2007 is when I started to understand my path. And I really understand my calling back then. Because I was here. I was brought back to the States after so many years living abroad. Then in 2019, boom, I was sent back to the place in Europe where I was living. And then I was brought back here right after COVID. And then I started thinking, okay, now I understand that my path is here to actually inform the chosen, inform the enlightened ones, that we're on this path, we're on this journey. There's someone that wants to consume your soul, eat your soul. I know this because they've been doing it to me for the longest time. They wanted to do this to our energy. But I need to understand those people that you need to watch out for. In the dream I had last night, it was either a Leo or people with the letter G, V, E, P, E, C, I. Maybe there was an Aquarius and a Pisces also. Yeah, there was Aquarius and Pisces. Oh, wow, I saw 2 cardinals, male and female, just pass us by. Last video, I saw a yellow butterfly. So now we know that the spiritual ancestors are talking to us. So I just want you to know, do not give up. God will reveal your enemies just like he revealed my enemies. It turned out to be my family. And angels are not with them. Angels are with you. You need to understand that. You see that beautiful sun shining and sparkling right above my head? It's amazing how darkness comes in and light smacks that darkness away, and then darkness smacks the light away, and it's like a yo-yo effect. But I don't want you to surrender. I need you to know that your angels already know that you're tired. You're probably as tired as I was. But you got to keep on this path, keep on this path, because that blind faith is what is needed. And you need to have that blind faith. Have that blind faith in yourself. Have that blind faith in your ancestors. Have that blind faith in the divinity. Because that's the path that we need to take. You and I are too special. You and I are a commodity. There's a huge puzzle here. The puzzle is called humanity. Each one of us is a puzzle piece. And we have to link together. And once we link together, that puzzle is finished. And I'm sure that you know that right now we just have to link the chosen pieces, because that will give us the border and the heart right now. Because there's a lot of pieces that really don't understand that they're pieces. So I don't want you to focus on that. Focus on you. Focus on your environment. Awaken yourself even more, because your discernment is spot on. Whatever you feel is exactly what's happening. Don't hold yourself back. Don't try to take another path. Don't try to fool yourself that these people are trying to be kind. Don't judge them by your cover, because you're a special book cover. Don't judge them by your cover. See them for what they are. I love you guys in Lakesh, and I'll see you next video.